My name's Jake Harlan. I've been a ranger in the Appalachian Mountains for 8 years now. Most days it's peaceful. Hiking trails, checking on campers, making sure folks don't start fires or feed the bears. The mountains are my home. The deep woods, the fog that rolls in thick at dawn, the way the trees seem to whisper when the wind picks up. I love it here. But sometimes the woods give you something you wish you could put back. Last Tuesday, I was doing a solo sweep up near Black Balsam Knob. A hiker had reported seeing an old orange tent half buried in leaves some miles off the side trail that connected to the main trail. I figured it was just abandoned gear, but protocol says I check everything. The air was cold, like it always is in early spring. My boots sunk into the mud as I pushed through the rhododendron thickets. Everything smelled of wet earth and pine. I found the tent easy enough. As I walked towards it, I realized that it won't be the usual patrol. The tent was a small one. Half of it was buried under the leaves. The other half that I could see was not in a good shape. It was ripped in places, like something had clawed at it. Inside, there was a sleeping bag, a rusty camp stove, and a small black notebook tucked under the pillow. The cover was soft leather, worn from being carried a lot. On the first page, in neat handwriting, it said, "Property of Elias Crowe, tracker. If found, please return to family." Elias Crowe. The name hit me right away. He'd gone missing almost 6 months ago. I remembered the search parties, the helicopters, the way his wife stood at the trailhead crying while volunteers called his name into the trees. They never found a trace. Not a boot, not a hat, nothing. After 6 weeks, they called it off. Said he probably fell into a ravine or got lost in the fog and died of exposure. But here was his diary, sitting in this torn tent like he just stepped out to tell me something. That guy is most likely not alive by now, as I'm finding tent and gear in this condition. I was curious, and also a little scared of what I would find in this diary, if I would find anything useful at all, to know what happened to Elias. I looked around, just the forest, with a long breathe. I sat on a fallen log beside the tent and opened the diary. The first entries were normal, dates from 6 months back. Day 1, taking a solo tracking job for the Park Service, mapping old game trails up past graveyard fields. Weather good, feeling strong. Day 4, found some weird tracks today. Too big for bear, too narrow for deer. Looked almost human, but the toes were wrong. Took pictures. We'll check with the office when I get back. Day 5. People at the office did not pay much mind to the photos and the weird tracks. They said weird tracks are found all year in the forest. Don't worry about that and focus on the job. They were likely right. I'm paying too much mind to it. Day 6. I will be going on a 1-week expedition tomorrow to map out the lesser-known areas of the trail. I'm excited, but don't know why there's this fear in me that something will go wrong. Maybe I'm still worried about those tracks. We'll see what will happen. After reading for a bit, I took another glance around the forest. It was a lot more quieter than before. I was also in that part of the trail where there was rarely anyone, as it was more deeper into the forested trail. Weird tracks, I muttered. What could it be? Seems like it might have a deeper connection to his disappearance. I didn't read the whole thing there. The sun was already dropping, and the woods get dark fast. I zipped the diary into my jacket, took some photos of the tent, and hiked back down before night fell. My cabin is small, just me and my dog, Buck. The area is forest for miles. That night, I sat by the wood stove with a beer and started reading properly. The words made my skin crawl. I read late into the night. Buck kept whining and pacing by the door like he sensed something was off. I told him to settle, but I felt it too. Elias wrote every day, sometimes twice. At first, he sounded like any experienced tracker. Calm, observant, a little cocky. Day 7. Today, on my first day of expedition, I found something in the deeper woods. These woods are older than people think. Found a circle of stones today that wasn't on any map. Looked like it had been there forever. No moss on some of them, which is strange this deep in the forest. Sat there a while. Felt watched.
Probably just a deer. Then things shifted. Day 9. I saw those tracks again, followed them for 3 miles. They stop at the edge of a cliff like whatever made them jumped off, but there's no body below. Climbed down to check, nothing. The silence up here is getting to me. No birds, no squirrels, just wind in the trees. Day 12. I think I am lost in the forest. The maps I have of the deeper area of the forest are very old. I don't know where I am. Today in the evening, I felt as if someone was following me. I kept looking back, there was no one, but I knew someone was there because I could smell it. It was a smell of rotting meat and blood. That thing is following me and also hiding from me. It could be a wild animal or maybe something else. It might be that thing with the weird tracks that I was following a few days ago. I will try to check it out after dawn, what it is that is following me. By day 12, his tone had changed completely. He wasn't writing like a guy doing his job anymore. He was writing like a man who knew he was in trouble. I flipped the page, curious and afraid of what will come next. The handwriting was not neat, but the letters had started to press harder into the paper, like Elias was gripping the pen tighter. Day 13. Set up camp in a small hollow with good sight lines. No fire. Didn't want to advertise. Couldn't sleep more than an hour last night as I woke up to that smell, rotting meat, thick and sweet like something dead for days. I was on alert with a rifle in my hand aiming at the tent entrance. Heard footsteps circling my tent, kept hearing them for hours, then started hearing slow breathing and light growling sound very close to me, like that thing was almost leaning on my tent. I did not dare make a sound. I was terrified. At the first light of dawn, that thing was gone. In the morning, I looked at my clock. It was around 8 a.m. With courage, I got out, rifle hugging my chest. There was no one outside. There were only footprints in the tracks. It confirmed my doubts. It was the same thing with the weird tracks that I saw a few days ago, not some wild animal. In the afternoon, I tried to follow the tracks. I thought if I could kill it first, I can save myself. Found more tracks, same ones. Barefoot, but the toes are too long and the stride is wrong. It was sort of deformed. One print had blood in it. Not much, just a smear. Followed them again until they disappeared into a laurel thicket so dense I had to crawl. That's when I heard it breathing. Heavy, wet, not 20 yards away. I froze. It stopped breathing too, like it knew I'd heard. I backed out slow, rifle ready. Nothing came after me. But the whole way back to camp, I felt it behind me. I'm not crazy. I've tracked wounded bears and coyotes for years. This is different. Reading day 13 almost stopped my heart. I peered out the window, looking at dark forest in the moonlight. To think there is something like that out there was a very scary thought. I moved on. Day 14. Found my own trail from 3 days ago. I've been walking in a wide circle. The old stone circle is back now. Same one from day 7. I swear it's in a different spot now. The stones are colder than the air around them. There are weird markings on the stones. Maybe these stones are connected to that thing in the forest. I took a closer look. I could not understand anything, but I did stood there for a good minute, really trying to focus. Nothing. But when I stood up to leave, there was a blood print right behind to where I'd been standing. Fresh, still wet. A scream escaped my throat. The echo sounded wrong, like the trees swallowed half of it. I paused there. Buck had stopped whining and was now staring at the cabin door, ears up, body rigid. The wood stove popped. Outside, the wind moved through the pines like breath across a comb. I took a long pull of beer and kept reading.
Day 15. I've been lost for 4 days now. I really want to get out of here. Last night, it again came close. I heard it circling the tent. Not footsteps exactly, more like something dragging one leg and favoring the other. Low clicking sounds like claws on rock. Smell so strong it made my eyes water. I chambered around and waited. It stopped right outside the door flap for a long minute. I could hear it sniffing along the seam. Then it moved off. At first light, I found a piece of my own spare shirt hanging on a branch 10 feet up. Torn, not cut. I never left it there, I'm sure of it. Maps are useless now. Compass is spinning half the time. I think the batteries in the GPS are dead.
but I put new ones in yesterday. I'm going to try to head due east toward the big drainage. If I can hit the river, I can follow it out. Day 16. Saw it. Just for a second at dusk. Tall, thin, moved on two legs, but hunched. Skin looked dark and patchy, like old deer hide stretched too tight. It was carrying something over its shoulder. Looked like a pack, but it was moving too smooth. It stopped at the edge of the clearing and turned its head toward me. No eyes I could see, just deep sockets. Then it dropped to all fours and melted into the rhododendrons, fast, too fast. I'm not writing this for the Rangers anymore. I'm writing it so someone knows. If you find this, I probably did not make it. Tell my wife I'm sorry I took the job. Tell her the woods are dangerous. Do not try to find me. It is not a place for humans. I closed the diary for a minute. My hands were cold. Buck came over and pushed his head under my arm, trembling. I scratched his ears, but my mind was out there on that ridge with Elias. 6 months. The tent looked like it had been through a war. Whatever had ripped those holes hadn't been a bear like I previously thought. It is something far more scary. I opened it again. Only a few pages left. The handwriting had gone shaky, the dates irregular. Day 18, maybe. Haven't slept in a few days. Today I drifted off from exhaustion. I woke up this morning to find my tent entrance was open. Sunlight was pouring in. Last night when I was passed out, that thing had gotten inside my tent. Just thinking about it, it made my back crawl. Somehow I was unharmed, but my boots were gone. Found them later, neatly placed on a rock facing the wrong direction. My rifle was still here, thank God. I fired 3 shots into the air today, hoping someone would hear. Nothing came back but my own echo, and even that sounded weaker. The smell is always with me now. I think it's marking me. I cannot take it anymore. It is driving me crazy. I think there is no choice now. I have to. I'm going to try. I'm going to try one last push at dawn. If I don't make it out and you find this diary, don't look for me. Just tell the families of anyone else who goes missing. Stay on the trails and don't venture deep into the woods. The last page had no date, just a single line written so hard it tore the paper in places. It wants to wear my skin. I shut the diary. Goosebumps on my skin. That last line, it sent chills down my spine. The cabin was dead quiet, except for the stove and Buck's breathing. I looked at the window, but all I saw was my own reflection against the black woods outside. Tomorrow, I'd call it in, get a proper search team up there with dogs and tech. But tonight, I loaded my rifle, checked the locks twice, and kept the lights on. The Appalachian Mountains had kept their secret for 6 months. I wasn't sure they were done with it yet.